Alright guys, let's do 3D chains right now. So it's quite different from the 3D rope that I did earlier. Let's just go ahead and jump into it. So this shape I created in Vectric. I do most of my vector drawing in Adobe Illustrator because it's just easier for the most part, but here you can get it done pretty quick. I did it, you go to the drawing tab or workbench and then you draw a rectangle. So one tip is if you select something that you created with the draw rectangle or any of the shapes and you hit that tool again, it'll bring it up and you can modify it from here. Just as a good little tip there. So I have it set at 2 inches here to here and then 1 inch wide, and then radius of the corners is at 1/2 inch. So that's how I create it. You hit apply, that creates that. So to create this inner vector here, I just did an offset inwards, and I did that at 0.3125. And then you want to know, at least how I do it, you go over here, grab this tool for measuring, you want the horizontal, and then you want to know what this width is, and it's 0.375. And then you can leave that there or delete it. So you want to go back in there, and this is already created, so I set it at 0.375 wide, and then 2 inches on the y-axis, because that's how tall this part was, because it's the same thing, it's just basically rotated how it would look in real life. And then the corners or radius automatically once I did that. So hit apply, and then that creates that. And then another quick little tip here is if you want to make these symmetrical, so you set this at whatever, you just put a gap in there is all I do. And then unless you're trying to do something like we're going in a circle and you need it to be at a certain dimension away so it all lines up when you go all the way around in a 360, you can bring down guides and set them at whatever you need. I don't know if you guys knew these existed, but you just click on this and drag it down, and then you can lock it in place so if you accidentally grab it, don't move it. And then you can position it here, and you can do angles and all sorts of stuff. So that's just another tip. But anyway, so say this is how we wanted it, and you wanted to create, let's just get rid of these, and you wanted it to be the same here to be down here. So you'll grab everything that you want, and you'll go to the, I think it's a mirror tool, and you want to flip it around a line. So I set it on this axis right here, and then you hold shift and left click, and then that becomes selectable. And you want this box checked, otherwise it's just going to flip this and it's no longer going to be here, it's going to be on this side. So go ahead and click, and there it is. Now let's go ahead and create the shape. So I already have them created. So that was our first one, but I'll show you what they looked like. There you go. So that's your chain. And these are big and thick enough that you don't really need to add a draft to them when you go ahead and smooth them, because that's what I ended up doing when I was messing around trying to get this set up. But we'll go ahead and we'll remake all of those just to show you how that works. So set it at 1/4 inch, 1/4 inch, and then I'm going to set it at the merge and hit apply, and there it is. Like I said, this is big enough to where you don't really need to add a draft to it when you smooth it out, because it's just not going to change that much. But if it was a smaller part, you might have to. So we're going to go ahead and create these two at the same height. You can do these at the same time because I'm not really looking to modify these. I'm going to end up modifying that middle one. Once we get there, I'll tell you why. So those 3 links are created. So then you come back to these 2, and I'm going to create these separately because they're going to get moved around a little bit, and if you create them at the same time, it's one component and you can't modify it like I'd want. So the one thing you want to notice is you want your base height a little bit taller, which I did 1/8 of an inch taller, so it protrudes past these first links. And you don't want it on that, because if you do, it does that goofy stuff. So you put it on merge. So that's the first one. And you can see it's not perfect, like spaced out wise. But we can change that to look like it's in the middle of both of them. There we go. Then we're going to come back here, create this one. Same height there as the other one. And that looks good. Okay, so there's, if you're just doing a straight up chain design, maybe a border, a frame look around like a design, that's how you do it. Pretty simple. So if you're going to get a little bit crazier like I did on this design, and you're going up and under and over stuff, you're going to be using the tilt function within that component settings. So you can see I'm going over this, and then it comes down and comes up over the trident underneath the tail, where there's not much level change here because if it's all perspective, it's going underneath it there. But then you really have a slope to come down here and go underneath the anchor, under the shark, over the anchor again. You can see the tilt function and being used there, all the way around back to the top of the anchor. And this is one of the couple first designs I ever done. I would have done things quite differently now to improve upon it, but this is, like I said, one of my first designs. I've actually sold quite a few of those to those guys in that unit. But go back over here, and then we'll start talking about moving these chains, so like if you're going up and over and wrapping around stuff. So there, it's all level and whatnot. So I have this piece here to show you how to go under. And this is quite a bit different of a process than I would do if, say, I was doing a rope, which I'm going to do a video on that next, of like going up and over features. So here, it's simple enough. I'm just going to lower this. I'm not going to use the shape height, because if you do that, it starts messing with the way that this looks. It actually messes with the shape. You can just use the base height, and then you can go negative. So we're going to try negative 1/8. So we're trying to get it a little bit more underneath this edge right here. It looks okay perspective wise, straight on, but if somebody's looking at it from an angle, you're going to want a little bit more. So we could, let's try a full 1/4 of an inch. So that might be a little too much for my liking. It depends, we might have to go back down there. Actually, let's just stay there, because when you tilt this link here, you've got to have enough room for it to go down and look right. So we'll go back, double click on it, you're in your component properties, and you're going to go highlight tilt. So you're going to come back here, you're going to hit set, and then that gives you this option to draw this line in here. So when you draw that line like I did, you want to start from the position where you're going to either keep this relatively the same and then force this side to go up or down. So it's at 0 right now. We can go into, now that we got that line set up, and we can go into the angle. So if you go positive 10, it's going to go up. That's not what we want. Let's try negative 10. Okay, so that looks pretty good. The problem is now, I didn't think I was going to have to move this. You could bring this up. You could bring this up, but then you're going to run into this. This whole thing is going to come up if you add base height or shape. I wouldn't change the shape. I try not to change the shape height. So we're just going to leave that, and we're going to come over to these two. So see, I should have created those separately because I can't use the tilt function. If I set that line from here to here, that thing's going to disappear. It's going to go all the way underneath your plane here. So we got to go back and create it. We're creating it by itself. As fast as that was. So there, that's back the way it was. So what we're going to do, properties, tilt, the same thing that we did with this one, we're going to do it on this link. And we'll see. And it might not need to be the same angle that you did this one. We'll try -5. See, so negative, you gotta be careful not to move that around. If you end up accidentally grabbing that and moving it, just Control Z and that's undo hotkey. So let's try -2.5. Oop, that's not what we wanted. -2.5. That's not what we want either. So you just got to play around with it until it gets it right. -4 seems about right. So see how that's kind of, it's going underneath of it. And then you would just repeat the process on the other side. What I would do to save myself time is just grab this. You could grab the sketches with it too if you want. And then just go back to that mirror tool and then flip it about that line. And then there you go. It went. You got it underneath that piece. So that was a little bit more than I showed you how to do with the 3D rope with, you know, making it look like it's going underneath something. And then it's the exact opposite process for going over. So you could actually just do that really quick. Whatever that was that you went that way, I'd go the exact same the other way. Yep, and then it saved those properties with that. So you could just do that real quick. And then you're probably going to want to lower this, or first you'd want to get rid of that, if I could select it. Get rid of that angle you put in there and see how it looks. So that doesn't look too bad. You might want to end up bringing this down a little bit on the base height, but we'll do it on both sides. And then we're going to bring this up. And again, do not touch the shape height. We're going to do it with, or the shape height, yeah. We're going to do it with the base height. So that almost looks pretty good. We're right on the line of that shape there from the flat surface look. And these aren't symmetrical from this piece to this piece. Mirrored over is symmetrical, but this piece I created here, I hid the layer. It's not even, you can see it. I just threw it in there real quick, so that's why it looks kind of goofy. But yeah, but that's how to do a 3D chain under something and over something. And if there's anything you guys want me to do that maybe you're hung up on, or you're just curious, just let me know. Throw it in the comments and I'll do a video on that. I'm trying to keep these within like 5 minutes or less. I probably went over on this one because I did a bit more than I should have. But that's the 3D chain for now. Thanks, guys.